Hey everyone, it's time for a more Great Ace Attorney. We're finally starting episode 3, The Adventure of the Runaway Room. From the way the story is going, we should be in Britain by now.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident, "I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together."
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives. Country is incredible.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure.
Nice cab driver.
I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. Note, I can barely do one accent. I can't expect me to do a British English with a Japanese accent. I'm doing my best. There are some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. But they've only been built in a few short decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wooden paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar. What kind of steampunk nonsense this is? What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's office, Naruhodo-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. The Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time, if circumstances were different. We were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. Oh. So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Yes. And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. If you want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer. Which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it's the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. That's the second reason why we're here. To have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only thing that will be able to remain here in London. This is the Lord Chief Justice. Oh. I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no, don't mention it. We're never happier than we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So, introductions. I am Male Strongheart, Monk Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Yes, thank you. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, well, It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh. We had a wonderful view of some London streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes. There's much excitement about the upcoming great exhibition we'll be hosting here in London. Great exhibition? Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It'll be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris' World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. The sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times, we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. Aggressive. Lord Chief Justice. I think you're expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. Mr. Kazuma Osoki, if my memory serves. That's right. British government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. country and actually extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news. Yes. We're here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that is true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you. The death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. You just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madam? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. What do you know? Well, Mr. Naruhodo. The thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead? Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But our lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean? Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country. And that was Mr. Asogi. At least, that is what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is... Get it out, man. It's Naruhodo. If there is someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer, it's... It's me. I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but... No qualifications, you say. And yet you still claim to be a lawyer. I have acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. Honestly, that just makes it more impressive, though. I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain studying. I learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Borea. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days. I know what you might call a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on the study tour was all I thought about. I have to carry on and do everything you plan to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I will do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance, that's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry? The opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. Just 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly just appeal, I would say. It's a skill that would stand you in good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Huh? Well, let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? You say you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. What do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. Let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news. Today? Straight away? If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you have passed my test. What could be simpler? Oh, could I ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. I remember. It's a murder trial. A murder? Extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. But I should mention just in case. The defendant is found guilty. He will, of course, be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? Here in Great Britain, murders are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably you read that much in your short C-based introduction to British law. We can't possibly agree to such a test. You'd be toying with a man's life. I'm the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. But... there's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asobi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? I mean, if I don't do lawyer stuff, it's not really much of an ace attorney game, is it? Alright then, if I have to give you a decision now, my answer is 15 seconds. Your decision making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket or passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Mrs. Sato. What could I do? It's alright. I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. The result has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madam? I think what Mrs. Sato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. And technically he was the one who was late. Wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, was there something else? Approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that. I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. We will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. But that's awful. But that's the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold, hard truth of the matter is that there's only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. So, what do you say now, madam? What do you mean, what, Strongheart? He said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, and I agree. But in my estimation, it's purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. My time is up. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If you're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, you must leave at once. Yes, we're going. This is so much to deal with this early in the morning. Oh, thank goodness we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when he climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines in the Sherlock Holmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. Are you right, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives you the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air. Almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever's about to be sentenced. It's whoever the man here to defend this. I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madam. Sir. Well, look who we have here. What are yous doing for me here? Seems I fair desperate, are they? Sorry? Look at those expressionless faces. None of yous are yous? We're from Japan, yes? Ah, Japan, is it? Right, say no more. So, how much do yous need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all while in a strange faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. Tis grand, tis grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Ain't nothing now. 1,000 guineas? Please, Mr. Sato, you don't have to shout. 1,000 guineas is... It's enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? I actually don't know. It's nothing to me at all. I can ensure I have sufficient funds to weather any rainy day, you see. I've never thought to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. But even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah! Ow. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving you no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. So? To be honest, it's a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial's gonna start without me having any kind of representation at all. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but assuming you're the defendant in this trial? Question places, do you not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry. You've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. I suppose this isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park there in the center of London is another beautiful park. Sorry? The park? What? It's called the Gilded Park. All blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park? In central London? The city of smiles, that's my vision for London. There's nothing this Gilded wouldn't do for the city and its quail people. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. Ugh, but... Not with the goal to see I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus Gilded. What's the matter with the London police, I ask you? I don't know what accent I'm actually doing. Mr. Naruhodo. Guess that would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath. Oh, good idea. Mr. Gilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft idiot? I gave you 1,000 games to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry. I know what you're thinking. This chance of a fellow claims that more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did. That's the only explanation. Well. Well. No. Not at all. Although, it is a little strange to be honest, now that you actually mentioned it. Why don't you have a why you don't have a lawyer, I mean? That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry. Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Baroque Venziques. He's the prosecutor. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper? The Venziques stands for the prosecution. They call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? They'll reach a desperate situation. There's no one willing to stand in defense against the fellow at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, what brought Venziques? He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel? Oh, this time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here, I made up me minds I had. Sorry. I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. Then you made an appearance. Student of law, wouldn't you know? There's no accident, I can assure you of that. It's fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. It's Naruhodo. The man has no one. He has to stand alone in that courtroom armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuo would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. It's like if you haven't finished med school yet and you suddenly just have to do surgery on someone. Kinda crazy. So this is the highest court in Great Britain. The Old Bailey. Centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, what? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We're here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus the Gilded. And I'll call upon the counsels for the prosecution defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. Vampire. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. Those eyes please me. Nipponese. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. No, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. He's been accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? I'm right here, Your Honor. That's all I said, my lord. 'Tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if I was a student for some little island off in the Far East. It's not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and get those less fortunate a fair chance. I'd like to think that acts of chivalry do great British Empire proud. Listen, Mr. McGillard, what a fine gentleman London has it, and did you actually donate £5,000 to the government the other day? Hello, please, can we go play in the Gilded Park? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. And that's definitely welcome news. And he certainly has a way for it. I'm surprised you couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded. The most laudable sentiments. No. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you. The few 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? Does that dude have a knife in the courtroom? Yes, my lord. If the test is to send royals to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Huh. Any criminals here would sue me wishing they'd never set eyes on me. I feel the chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Let's finish these bits for my grandson. Mr. Naruhodo, those people are... Jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. Right. I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes the sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. The defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes.
Prosecutor Van Zieks. My lord. It's a number of years since he's seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you renounced your fame.
Unknown as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. Oh yes, 5 years has passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. Is he really not just a straight-up vampire?
So what brings you back? There's some chains of circumstance of which the court should be aware.
Leave that to your imagination, Lord. Miss Hart, Miss Naruhodo.
As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, the opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please.
Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hours were some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as Thrice Fried Mason. Sorry? Thrice?
He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible.
The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus, in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Oh yeah. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard.
Thank you, counsel. I shall accept then the photograph as evidence.
And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well.
And these are... Good lord, is that blood, counsel?
Yes, my lord. These by policemen who arrived at the scene. These core-soaked gloves. Taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? You literally caught this guy red-handed? Come on.
Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well.
Yeah, it's very bloody, alright. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker Mr. Mason. The other was the accused Baptist McGilded.
Well, in circumstances, to say the least. Defendant, what say you?
And of course I have no recollection of such thing. Mr. Gilded. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. Whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, I always succumb to it.
Are you claiming to have been asleep?
This emotion of the carriage, my lord. Lieutenant's orders. And when I open my eyes again, there's a desperate sight before me. Whatever man never laid eyes on before me in my life. Now I ask you, what good heart is for a wooden rush to help a fella breathing from his stomach? I was about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I always have to give the man a hand. How exactly were you helping him?
Unfortunately. The statement of the drivers is only the beginning.
What?
There are multiple witnesses. At the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Order! 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 When the thing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. And there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we'll hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Which is my command. Caleb, bring the witnesses in at once. Witnesses, your names and occupations.
My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End.
Bruce Fairplay. I beg you in the city.
My name's First. Lady First. It cats for gents.
Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in this den were in an omnibus and witnessed to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Quite right.
Yes, sir, that's right, sir.
Very well then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw.
It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well.
The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus.
Then on the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged the knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too.
An ambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes.
I'd like to ask a question, if I may.
Yes, counsel.
This testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
Why not?
Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it?
As I've been pretty safe from the outset, yes.
Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of a moving carriage. What'd I say?
Oh. I read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century, but you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my dear friend. Have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. Arrange for us to all see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean? The carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes? The omnibus in which this body crime took place is here today in this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff. Bring forth the stricken omnibus. I really got to fit in here. But that's an omnibus. The omnibus. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses. It can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there's a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the streets above. Ah, a skylight. Oh! The paint drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That's how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. Oh, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I always do this. I'm not at it. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well. I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, your Britain seemed extraordinary. Yeah, I guess let's look at it. Oh, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? It's just in the middle of court. Excuse us. Coming through. Oh, yep, there's blood. Yeah, that doesn't seem like the best plan to murder someone. Skylight.
We'll look at the outside some more. Hey, it's Phoenix, right? Good view of that bloodstain from up here. That's it. Door again.
Let's continue with proceedings then. Cross-examination, Counsel. I don't expect this Nipponese to straight understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination.
I'm gonna press.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened.
Did not really testify to that.
Or fair dinkum hard-working city bakers not considered trustworthy these days. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail. Lord.
Rule number 3. What's the meaning of this?
My mind's made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I'm like the stinking rich. Never have. Draws up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. That little leprechaun of a man is no obsession. Well, he can't fool me. Dude. There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway.
That's precisely what I was about to say. As foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors.
There's lots of fireballs up in there. What the? Let me see. Ah, yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury get their verdicts. Fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago in the 1800s. those enormous gears fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen.
Very well. The court noticed a change in the jury's stance. Field of War Defense. Please continue with your cross-examination.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Just collapsed on the floor, he was.
Then on the passenger, obviously you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the bookmaker.
And then the other passenger had a knife in his hand, like this.
By the other passengers, obviously you're referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded.
And then he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passengers in the belly.
What?
My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption.
Juror number 2. Go on.
Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman. And a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Wait, what are you about to do?
Dispose of the rubbish! Okay, yeah, rich people are trash, but let's not be hasty here. I don't wish to cause offense. I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion.
Well, not again.
It's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. Nevertheless, we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark.
Also, I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly.
I mustn't hope that we'll come for something that will give us a way to fight back. What?
Alright, I'll keep trying.
I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here.
The
Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage.
That's right. We sit up on the top deck, the window's right there to feet.
There's a map on the inside, so I had a pretty good view.
The 2 of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. There's not a shred of doubt in my mind that was Mr. McGilded.
You sure it's not even the same suit?
How can you be so sure? Well, I gotta put it politely. McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There's no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. I pressed that already.
Hold it!
You stabbed him, you say? And you're sitting up on the roof deck, are you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I'm thinking about a new hat design, you see. I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly. That huge, great knife. A grim sight indeed.
That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGill was telling the truth. When we had some evidence to counter the suspicions.
It's a first.
Oh, yes, sir?
Is this the knife you saw?
Oh, good grief, yes, that's it. The very one, sir.
Is that? Yes, Counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly, a stake through the heart. This is a blade of considerable size, Counsel. It is. And furthermore, the scout is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. Letter M. It seems oddly familiar. Or Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly? Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes, like in Mason.
Objection!
This is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to vote. No, this evidence of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Wait, are you sure it's not a W at least? Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, Counsel. Not even my katana, Susato. It's Kazuma's soul. The name of that series where all the boys are based on swords. Token Rambo? No. Anyway. It's a soul, Susato. Also, that's more blood. Where's the initial? The turnabout, indeed. Are you sure? I mean, yeah, look, it could be a loopy W. Give it a chance, Sato. I pressed everything. Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes. Ever so cold it was, sir. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board that at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, no. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place? No one alighted, for example? You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. No, none. I have to say, the boss insists on it running, he does. Every evening, the last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes it was altogether worthwhile. Yes, so sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, over there being so cold and everything, we're making 20 pence on the run, you see. It's been that at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again. I just can't believe it, sir. Can't believe it. The murder on my own bus. It's too awful to think about. I haven't been able to shake this cold ever since it happened. On what I wish to speak. Yes, German number 5. Do I take it that you two... How's the matter of the London Guild of Coachmen? The idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's characters is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though. Self? But I've read enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say. No, please, just keep an open mind a little... Yep, now's the right place. The finish is in sight. That was a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means that the 5 jurors agree to condemn this man. Granny, you wouldn't betray me, would you? Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear. What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh yes, I certainly have. You got my hearing, you know. Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day, and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just there where I live. The Gilded Park is called. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know. It puts a smile on Londoner's face, he says. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. His house did wonderful things for the city. That's right, I meant like that one stab someone, surely. Well, then we can go to the public library and borrow some more books. I think that kid's just... what do they call them? A plant. He's there for, like... yeah, sponsorships. Yeah, anyway. How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know what kind of a mad Gilded really is? What kind of a man is he? I don't know either. The philanthropist, Magnus McGilded. Product placement was the phrase I was looking for. Anyway, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. Where did all the wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What?
Still in the crows.
McGilded lends money at extortionate rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak.
I've never heard any mention of that before.
Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy Londoners entirely not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? You're not saying that the victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name. They've considered it financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious. The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, his faithful soul had the very last thing he owned taken, his life. But a merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded.
Hold it!
If I might add something briefly.
Mr. Sato?
You claimed that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. Where is the evidence to support your claim?
May I forget the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law. There it is. Lord Ventig's hallowed chalice. But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage. I didn't expect to experience it myself.
As judicial assistant to the defense, I'm simply doing my job.
What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You'll find the victim's name clearly recorded inside.
Oh.
Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. I may forget the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I would gladly accept this new evidence. And some wine if you would like to share. Oh yes, 20 guineas. Victim owed a considerable sum. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense.
Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes.
Randy, no. Regularly, madam. That's the most operandi of the accused.
And it's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel. Still, maybe it's all for the best.
Wait a minute, let's think about this.
I don't stand for nonsense.
Randy, no.
According to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, Court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. Thanks, Susato. Oh! There's a footnote, though. A footnote? However, the defense. All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial. By delivering my final verdict, I trust there are no objections. Sato, what are you saying? Mrs. Sato, just tell me one thing. Yes? You're in the middle of saying something before? The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. I read the defense. What did it say next? Oh yes, of course. One moment. Why did you close the book? When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty. Yeah, you said that. Footnote says, has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. Summation examination?
Objection!
A summation examination. From which century has that tomb we have there been resurrected? Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure mention. It's a relic. Long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. What even is it, Mrs. Sato? This so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment, and I'll read about it. You demand the right to procedure before you even understand what it entails. Typical Japanese. Right, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, you'll be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what, exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. As in times gone by, barristers use the summation examination to influence the jury's decision. But our procedure became something of formality with no practical benefit, really, but rather full of use. I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. Bold statement. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? We're here to do lawyering. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on Earth. You have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
Your face is an embarrassment. But if it's alright, it's alright. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. Court will proceed with the summation examination.
This is madness. Woman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Eh? Well, I'm not. There's no mention of this in the letter I received, so... all members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Oh my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot.
This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before.
I don't really hold with all this justifying lark. We have to take responsibility for our actions?
It seems none of them has experienced this before. Turn this trial around. Got to win for justice.
There's no one else inside the carriage at that time, so it has to have been him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence.
He's a chap next to him next like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
I simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion.
You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our model. They hadn't raised prices above 4 pence for years.
This scoundrel staring at poor men on the floor. It beggars belief. Other jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments though, do they?
Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds.
Someone witness Naruhodo. It's in my book. That's not quite how it works.
Oh. I thought I was gonna have to thaw their icy mind to some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant.
Unfortunately. Most jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, and likely to heed anything the defense says.
But then...
they reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Their pleas would sound like excuses. In fact, they could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become.
Then what am I supposed to do?
Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo.
Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then?
Well, for what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments.
What do you mean?
The 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together.
And that's the way to break them down, you mean?
Yes, exactly. Just listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if you can identify any contradictory statements. If you can contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. Let's see. So it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for.
In a way then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination.
Oh, yes, I suppose you're right.
I'm getting double pumped. Let's go, Renosuke. Can we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for it. Expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Okay, so the most obvious contradiction here. 4 passengers, collect 20 pence of them, is 5 pence each. But he's saying the price is only 4 pence.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Do. Explain yourself, Counsel.
Me? Oh dear, what have I said?
Oh sure, Silver Blazes remained in date. Might haven't the first idea what you're talking about. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus the night in question. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares.
You're right, I have those precise details technically here in front of me.
And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. There it is. A very inconvenient single price. It's the way London's carriages should be operated. That doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Why, Ben, why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication,
It'll be 16 pence.
exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare. 1 person's fare. Yes. In other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there's another passenger we've heard nothing about. Good gracious. This can't be right. The Coachmen of the Guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword.
The figures your coachman claims or certainly do not add up. The watchword, good sir, is a fallacy.
I beg your pardon. Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride in his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end, hmm?
Well, according to my book here, you may launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of scales.
Oh, hold your horses there, coachman. You're wrong, agree with it. Why have to go and... Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo! This is all very irritating.
Beg your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same.
Love of fight, not you as well.
A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters.
Oh, really?
I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, look, Commissioner Ho, you did it! If you manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue.
More.
And that's where you must strike next. Saki, you can do it.
Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination.
I shouldn't do my leaning to innocent. I should like to hear what this slipshod bookkeeper has to say for himself.
Beppo. The show has a continuance I can get to the bottom of this corruption. Not guilty, I say. Okay, it looks like there's some confusion on how he was stabbed. He said he got stabbed while sitting next to him on the side. And she thinks he got stabbed on the floor.
Objection!
Dear me, I was only needing a jumper for my other half. What's all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? You heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. What? You just see that I'm busy here. How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Huh, won't test me, do you? It was like this. Stuck the fella next to him without even getting up. Just as the prim banker said. Why do we point at knife, dude? This was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true. Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so. Now don't move. Take a look at these 2 jurors. He said the fell next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he had collapsed on the floor. Oh, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What? Bless my stitches, what a muddle. What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility of one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Oh. Why? Why the dickens would they lie? I don't know that yet. What I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience? Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies. The scales. I don't believe. Wait. Well, here it is, my fellow jurors. I warned you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. Let's read this, Dark Jinx. Huh? Me? What exactly is the problem? What of it the 2 witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? What of it? Let's say, the shark did stab the victim as he sat next to him on the omnibus. And this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, then the shark stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, hmm? What are you calling a dandy, sir? I should take this knife to you. What are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you. Okay, what did the autopsy say? As a result of a single stab wound to the abdomen. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it, you Dark Jinx? Go on, out with it. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I said the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. You see, that's all the question, so much some proof. I got your proof right here. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by...
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once. Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. Alright, I concede defeat. At least the knife man is reasonable.
We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won. Duh.
What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. We had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I don't lie when I see one. If the chap never dares cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head.
Well, quite a remarkable turn of events. The defense's summation examination has slipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to execute. And the trial must continue. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, witnesses to return to their places. I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth.
Show, good show.
So, Lord Van Zeeks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please.
He's got a Grim Reaper on his wine bottle. See? Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hollow chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Zeeks.
As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during the summation examination, so I honor the deathly silence and listen to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. There's nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it seems. And why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let's proceed to the next round of battle. Oh, the glove, huh? Bring forth the witnesses once more. Witnesses. I trust you heard the summation examination you just had to endure.
Oh, yes, sir. And I did, sir.
Of course I heard it.
Oh, yes, sir. I heard it.
You, Sir Onion, the coachman. I believe it's Beppo?
Yes, sir. My lord, sir?
It transpires and in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on the omnibus. You will be found guilty of perjury. Be advised to bear that in mind, sir.
Finally, people care about perjury in these games.
Oh, mio Dio. Oh.
Other witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You explained the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination.
I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear. But
Well, I for one sort of had to pay 5 pence for the bus.
he feels unfair, he did. And I saw that blood one inside as well. It's all too much.
I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands.
Oh, yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes.
You think, or he did? Also, make sense of this for me, please. The Phantom Fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never exists. The confusion has arisen from the Coachman's sly little cousinage. I think that's pronounced. Beppo, explain yourself.
I'm sincerely sorry, Guildmaster.
Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. I want to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare.
It's so cold, and less run of the day is always half empty.
You have been dishonest, Coachman.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're a disgrace, Beppo! A disgrace! And your selfish action has brought dishonor on the entire guild.
If I may, sir. I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week.
What?
4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done you like 10 times already, but I just can't make this all come out differently.
No, that figures. That's how math works. Well, it appears that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. Lord Counsel for the defense. Your cross-examination, please. You've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. Do you intend to continue the parlor games? Absolutely.
I think I'll start pressing from here.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight. You mean the murder, I presume?
Yes, sir.
Gruesome sight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man the moment his life was taken.
Oh, well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed.
Good gracious, really? We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it.
I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, see? And that's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating.
Hold it!
So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilded, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him? That's what I said, isn't it?
Anyway, there was only the 2 of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? There's been much talk of a 5th passenger, but as of yet, 0 evidence. Then what are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white. The man's guilty.
I heard you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor, and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose. I might have, yes, put the cart before the horse, maybe. What's this? No, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard it singing from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expected that was me, sir. Then when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes, and the fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes. So, in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all? I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing, did I? That was one of these. Let's see.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. You didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh?
Are you asking me or telling me? Some days are like that. It be like that sometimes. Let's take a look at this first. This can be important. Yeah, maybe this is a setup. Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through the skylight on top of an omnibus, that is.
Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, how you know? I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay.
Oh, excuse me, I was getting a little hot on the collar there, my lord.
I would ask you to submit your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw.
Oh, I can do that, alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. You gotta forget the side of blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man. Blood-soaked hands.
Hold it!
Blood-soaked? Well, perhaps soaked is lady mum, I think, but anyway, there's definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
And you saw that from the roof? Through the skylight?
Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there's a lamp on the side of the carrot as well, so I'm quite sure of what I saw.
You feel something doesn't add up, Mr. Naruhodo. That's when you should move to have a good look through the court record. If you're not careful when you press these witnesses, the danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful, as they did before. Maybe. Can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. Yes, you're so right. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as to the reason. Yeah, we did that. Well, first of all, he was wearing gloves, and secondly, they only stained one of them, so I think that's a contradiction.
Objection!
Looks so. Hands? Well, I bet that's what might be laying on. But anyway, there's suddenly blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay. That's more than a little peculiar. Here are the gloves formed by the defendant, Mr. Gilded, on the 9th question. Oh, yes, right. And it certainly does appear to be a little dark color stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. Ugh. In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. Yeah. But no, that can't be right.
So you're the liar here then.
That's right, you're quite clear about it. You said it was both hands. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed. Was that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands, there was only one. But the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairley categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. Why? Why? Oh, city beggar, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter site. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate.
Naruhodo, you have some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying. It could turn the whole tide in this town completely.
I have the evidence. My lord. Yes, counsel. Defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove, are you sure? Yes. Evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony. Very well. I hereby call on defense to present its evidence. Evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court.
Right here in this ledger, sir.
Take that!
This is a list of debtors who owe money to Mr. McGill. Yeah, it's a list of innocent victims, crippled by the accused of extortion.
The point is, among the names of these debtors, it's your name. Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused?
No, well, it's paperwork from really being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say?
Ugh.
Oh, what of it? Suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case?
These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, for the creditor, the defendant here, will be sentenced to a capital punishment. All outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. It would cease to exist.
Cease to exist? Oh, you're so simple now.
Mr. Fairplay,
Is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious intent to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant?
Order! 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 Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
Yes, Lord.
Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim?
Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did. Overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which you have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir, on Asion's hands. I think... yes. I'm almost sure that was on both of his hands, not just one. What? What?
You're never going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Yes. Naruhodo. This is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last.
Yes.
There's blood on both ends of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard that scream. Anyway, the fact remains. There can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen.
Well, lo and behold. In true fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment that the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there's no one else inside that carriage, and that man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. It's really not what testimony is about. Let's examine the interior of the omnibus once more. Britain's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's account. In other words, there's no substantial or significant change in the facts of the case. Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel. Yes, my lord. Press here. And everything you saw the incident was due to skylight on the roof of the omnibus. That's right. It's seriously cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering, it was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh? Why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked? That's right. There's a public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. I can assure you that wasn't just looking down, I was glaring, long and hard. That's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence. If there's anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say.
Well, in a way, the seats run on, but you could look down and see where Mason was stabbed. Okay, like, you see it right there, and looking down at this. I don't think they can see everything. Especially if you're sitting right here.
Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You're riding this omnibus. I witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the fourth upper deck. Is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there's a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. What? My golly, really? Obviously at this stage we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. At the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the closed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well. I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated?
See, someone sitting here would look down at this angle. Which leaves this side obstructed from view. Here?
Take that!
Roof. There's the seats on the roof facing the direction of travel. Whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Which means the visible part of the cabin, which the passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here.
Huh.
That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one in which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it.
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. Unibians have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. Fair?
I confirm with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude.
Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? Is this what we have so far? So if we want to get McGilded acquitted, maybe he was the one sitting outside and they saw someone totally different stab the guy. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name.
You're a fool.
This one was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned.
Let's not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat.
On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was...
Take that!
Passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. McGilded. Mr. McGilded?
What are you talking about, counsel? It's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Fenseeks.
People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I say they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. This is the very premise on which this case was built.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, he creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, Counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
And we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, your testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear. They clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on the passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And it was this third party. See? The true culprit.
Extraordinary. Order! 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 What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, it's fair to say that the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them though.
Yes, that's right. Both gentlemen most certainly had it. As do tend to know such things, sir.
What particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First?
I'm afraid I don't remember.
The style of hat makes no difference. There's no third passenger in the cabin.
How can you be sure? In the cabin.
Because if there had been, the accused Mr. McGilded would undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact.
Unless that is, you're proposing an even more preposterous explanation. The accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled.
Order! There's really a simple solution to this problem.
When the accused Mr. McGilded to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, you have already made a false statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act.
As for a defense, what is your opinion?
My lord? I feel like more testimony is par for the course. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, sir. I need a little time to consider this.
If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony.
There's something needs to do it, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild.
Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely.
Yes, the jury says the man must be her. Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Let proceedings be resumed. Miss McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
To be sure I have, my lord.
There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there is a third party with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police?
No, it is not in my nature to hide anything at all.
Just answer the questions, please.
The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Did I tell you so? Keep your mouth shut.
Tell us what, Mr. McGilded.
The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger.
It's true.
Aye, and it was me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened.
You...
What? Little urchin?
Madam McGilded, that convenient excuse can't save you now.
I'm truly sorry, so I am, Sword Van Zeeks. I'm sure you'd be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you.
Which was?
The little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see.
What?
If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They've hauled her into this here courtroom just like yourself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord.
And who is this young child of whom you speak?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, the weird thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
There's absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin is in here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings.
Smoke!
Fire! There's a fire! Things are gonna go away! After that. What is going on? You ever Mr. Naruto, cover your face!
Don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. Hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
You're hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos, the people stumbled over one another in desperation to flee the chamber. They had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. This is gonna be a long case. But we just got here. Well, we'll just have to stop here and pick this up next time. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you then.